Hi guys, this is going to be a bit of a short video. So this is the sixth video in the series we're recording regarding the refactoring of the Visual Studio related meta types in Dogen. So we've had a lot of problems with sound. I'm hoping that this time around the sound is vaguely sensible. I wouldn't be surprised if we still have a couple of issues, but what we've done is, and also the other problem as well, is that we've been trying to describe the work that we're doing in Dogen, but struggling a little bit to do the work whilst recording the videos at the same time. So this has always been a problem. So at the end of it, we ended up doing most of the work without doing live coding. We'll probably try to practice a bit more in the next set of videos, and hopefully they'll come out a bit better. So as we reach the conclusion of this piece of work, I'm just going to do a quick review of the final results and discuss a little bit sort of the road that we took to get there. If you look at the current set of commits we got in Dogen, you can see I literally just now finished committing the last batch of work, which is this bit here, to remove all of the sort of legacy stuff. As you can see here, and all the legacy features. So just to recap, what we've done then is in the past we used to have sort of meta types. I'll put this in quotes because these meta types were living in the generation model, and they're duplicated in both the generation C++ and generation C# models. And the purpose of this work was to move them across to our real meta model, which is assets, and to tidy them up nicely so that they look like proper meta types and they model the domain correctly, and to then create a set of formatters that express those as templates and then push them into files. So this new set of entities is much more reflective of what the domain types look like. So in fact, if I just show you for comparison, I could just quickly hop over to one of the models. So for example, if I take generation of C++ and if we just ask Emacs to give us a history of this, something around here. So if I just locate interestingly enough, I can't see all files. So this is how the model looked before we started the refactoring, and you can see here we used to have all sorts of slight insanities where first there was this whole idea of injection, where these meta types would just suddenly appear in the model via the dynamic transforms. So there was no meta type actually representing these at the model level. Instead, we would, given the presence of some metadata, we would inject these things onto the model as part of the generation process. Now we don't really like that approach anymore. We consider that to be deprecated, and now we want to make all the meta types, we want to make all instantiation explicit in terms of entities. So as you can see here, we need to physically create a solution in a project with the correct meta types. We supply any parameters these things may have, such as a GUID, and that's what triggers the generation of these meta types now, or these types now. Also, you notice that the modeling that we did before was not particularly brilliant. We just literally looked at the parameters that we needed in order to generate the files, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but this was a little bit too close to the generation. We now have something that resembles a bit more the domain. So we talk the language of Visual Studio solutions in projects, such as project persistence block and things such as that. And so this is a much nicer way of modeling this. So as part of this exercise, as you can see, all these steps have been removed in C# and in C++, which is part of a long-standing sort of road refactoring fabric, or removing fabric really, refactoring it into the assets model. The formatters as well look a lot nicer now, because we now have the formatters inside of its little namespace, Visual Studio namespace. We have the project and the solution formatter, and they are following the patterns that we've got everywhere. Still a few hacks here, like we still have traits and so on, but that's expected. That's not part of this refactor. So all of that was achieved. We removed a lot of the code that was kind of related to this, a lot of the hacks we had before. So overall it was actually a success. We didn't quite tidy everything up properly. So if you look at one of these templates, I'm just going to get rid of this file. So if you look at one of these templates, you should see that we have a massive hack here in the generation of file names. So we had thought about a very clever way of determining whether a file name would contribute, or a simple name would contribute or not to the final name. We thought of creating a flag that would get propagated, and there was all sorts of really interesting ideas here. We ended up removing all of this, as you can see here, and preferred instead to use this hack. The reason why is because there's some really fundamental questions about how physical entities are being modeled that need to be answered, and those were really going to be decisive in how file names will map. So there's not much of a point of trying to do a partial hack or partial solution to this that doesn't quite align to the world of physical world that we're going to introduce later, and that's all going to be part of the locator refactor, which is this chap here. This is a very, very complex refactor that can only be done after fabric is moved, and it's all to do with well, the multidimensional spaces that we have in assets, and how those then get projected to the file system. This is actually not a trivial thing to do. So in order to avoid that, for now, we've just put in a hack that's good enough to reproduce what we had before. So we just go with that. And so this is it. We've more or less completed this refactor, and now the next refactor is going to be probably entry point, which is used in the C++ model only. We don't have that in C#. Okay, sorry about the quality of the sound, and I hope if you persisted all this way, I hope you enjoyed watching these videos. Thanks for watching.